The impacts of climate change are going to affect each and every one of us around the world. The poorest people in the poorest countries are seeing the impacts first and most severely, but people have already died in Scotland from storms made more intense by climate change. What, though, I think is more important to remember is who is responsible for this. And Scotland is part of the rich, developed world that has, in history, emitted far more of the gases that are causing climate change. We have a moral responsibility, a duty that comes from the role we've played in triggering and stimulating the Industrial Revolution all around the world. It's now time for Scotland to stimulate a new ecological enlightenment and start to deliver zero carbon economies. In tackling climate change, we have made an awful lot of progress in the energy sector in fixed generation capacity. We've got wind farms, we're developing wave power, we could even see carbon capture and storage. Where the biggest problems remain are for vehicles, and this is why biofuels are so popular with decision makers, because they actually allow us to consider ways in which we can reduce the emissions associated with vehicles, which is about 25% of total emissions. If biofuels genuinely deliver emissions reductions, then they can be part of the solution. But at present, the biofuels that are on the market are at best marginal in climate change terms and tend to be completely unsustainable when we take a broader view of the social and environmental impacts. We don't have to look at the most extreme examples of, say, Indonesian or Malaysian peatlands that are being drained and the forests cut down to plant palm oil plantations with emissions that are up to several hundred times greater than the alleged emission savings from the biofuel. Even if we look at oilseed rape being grown in Scotland or in Europe, if the levels of fertiliser are too high, then the net emissions are negative, i.e. it produces more carbon dioxide than is saved by not burning petrol. So they might have a role to play in tackling peak oil, but very little role to play in tackling climate change in their present form. I think there's a really interesting dilemma facing politicians, facing business people, and indeed facing the public. And I've called it the climate game of chicken, that we all know as individuals we should do something, but we all know that our individual bit would be tiny in the scale of the challenge. Every business leader knows they should do something, but if the market isn't there for their new product or new approach, then they're going to get out-competed by the cowboys who go on not taking account of the climate. So the business leaders want to see a framework from government. Government, on the other hand, they all know that they should do something. All the politicians know, they're very well aware of the science, but they're afraid that the public support isn't there. They see efforts to increase taxation on road fuel, for example, that have led to, in a sense, public rebellion, and the stampede to announce that they were going to cut tolls on the Forth Bridge that all the parties got involved in was a reflection of the sense that the public is not ready for tough measures that might affect their lifestyles on climate change. So actually everyone's saying, well, we know we've got to do something, but you first. And I think it's incumbent on us as campaign organisations to target not just government, and we do have to target government to get political leadership, but also to target the businesses so that they will see that those that take action get a better profile out of the campaigners, and to target the public so that when we press government to take action, it's with people who say, yes, I have made these changes in my life. I'm doing my bit. Now I want you as the government to really grasp the nettle and make it easy and possible for us all to do so much more.